Hey, what's up, guys? It's DarkArmedDuelist, and today doing some Blue Eyes Shining Dragon test hands. I'm really excited for you guys because this is actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Izzy. And this deck is a really awesome deck that summons out one of the most nostalgic monsters in the entire game, Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, which was actually what the entire first Yu-Gi-Oh movie was based around. So, without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like in your name, description, every single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron, along with test hands. And definitely give Izzy some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one. So this deck is a super fun deck that basically revolves around summoning out Blue Eyes Shining Dragon and all of the really awesome forms of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, from the original to alternative and even Neo. You can summon out any which one that you want in any situation, which is really awesome. If you want to summon out Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, you just go for the original one. If you want to go for an OTK, you summon out Neo, and if you want to pop a bunch of cards on the field, you summon alternative, which is really awesome. I love summoning out all three of them in this deck because you have really interesting hands that can actually make 1 to 2 copies of Blue Eyes Ultimate in a single turn, which is really awesome. So now that we got the deck pile shuffle, because you guys know that's dad rule number 1, you always got to pile shuffle your deck. No matter how consistent the deck is, you will break maybe if you don't pile shuffle. So we're gonna go ahead and give the deck a quick riffle and see what we can pull off for the first test hand. So let's go ahead and see what we can do, not dropping out any cards out of the deck, but we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can do for the first test hand. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Trade-In, a copy of Melody of Awakening Dragon, Ultimate Fusion, a copy of Sage with Eyes of Blue, and a copy of Trade-In. That's actually a pretty interesting hand because we have multiple ways to draw in the deck, and we have some really interesting plays, especially with the copy of Melody and Sage with Eyes of Blue. So let's go ahead and normal summon out Sage with Eyes of Blue from our hand so we can get the White Stone of Legend, which is going to help us get an additional copy of Blue Eyes from the deck, which is going to help us out quite a lot to be able to get those plays really rolling. So what we're going to do now at this point is go ahead and activate the copy of the Melody of Awakening Dragon, because the copy of our Ultimate Fusion doesn't really care where the Blue Eyes are. You basically just have to have them in your hand, field, or graveyard to be able to fusion summon, so we can actually discard them with Trade-In, which is really cool. So we're going to go ahead and activate the copy of Melody to send the copy of the White Stone of Legend from our hand to the graveyard, and we're actually going to search out the copy of Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, and then a copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is going to help us out a lot to be able to just dig into the deck and grab some more cards, because the copy of the White Stone of Legend is going to be able to add an additional Blue Eyes from decked hand. Let's actually add the copy of Alternative White to get that card in the graveyard, because it actually counts as Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard, so we can get those really good plays. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and send the copy of the Melody of Awakening Dragon and the copy of the White Stone of Legend, which after Melody resolves, we can actually search the deck for a copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is pretty good to be able to get that additional card into our hand. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what else we can do. We've already got some really good pluses. We can actually draw 4 with these 2 cards, which hopefully will get us exactly what we need, because we really only need 1 copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon to pull this off. So what we're going to do is go ahead and discard the copy of the Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, and then we're going to draw 2 cards, which we have plenty of cards in the deck to be able to dig to get the copies of the Blue Eyes that we need. And we already hit the copy of Blue Eyes right there, so we can actually summon Shining on the very first turn, which is really awesome. Go ahead and use the copy of Trade-In again to be able to ditch a copy of Blue Eyes to the graveyard to draw 2 more cards, which we're going to get a Polymerization and a King of the Swamps, which actually sets us up for later to go in for another copy of Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, because if we save our copies of our Link monsters, you can actually go in for additional plays. So what we're going to do is use the copy of Ultimate Fusion to be able to fusion summon the copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon by using the Blue Eyes in our hand and the 2 that are in the graveyard, and shuffling these 3 into the deck so that we can go in for a copy of our Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is going to be really awesome to go into. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck, and now that we've shuffled up the deck, we're going to go ahead and put this in the graveyard, because we activated that to fusion summon out Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon Which what we're going to do at this point is link the copy of Sage away, summon out a copy of Link Karibo, and then we're going to tribute off the copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon to summon out Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, which is really cool that we've gotten it on the very first turn, which is just really, really awesome. So it's really neat because it can actually stop cards that target it, and it also has the ability that gains 300 attack for each dragon in the graveyard, which we have 2 dragons in the graveyard, so it's currently sitting at 36, which is pretty big, but we can also protect it with the copy of Link Karibo, so we have plenty of plays to be able to go for. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and pass over to the opponent, and if they don't do anything against us, we're going to go ahead and draw for turn, and we're going to draw into a copy of Bingo Machine Go, which is going to make this hand really, really crazy. Even if your opponent board wipes the field, I'm going to show you guys a really, really broken combo that you can actually pull off with this hand. So what we're going to do is go ahead and normal summon out the copy of the White Stone of Legend and link these two away to summon out a copy of Anaconda, which is going to help us out a lot just to get additional pluses off this particular hand, which is just really, really nice because the copy of the White Stone of Legend will then give us a search of a copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon because it was sent to the graveyard. Now we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck, and we're really not going to go for many more plays right here because we have some really awesome plays that we can actually go for with the copy of Bingo Machine Go. What this card does is it makes you reveal 3 cards that are either Blue Eyes monsters or spells and traps that specifically list Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon in your deck, which we have plenty of those to be able to reveal because we use the copy of Ultimate Fusion to shuffle back a bunch of cards. So we can actually just reveal in our deck multiple copies of Blue Eyes Alternative to be able to special summon one of them to the field off of its own effect, which is really good. So we're going to reveal all 3 to the opponent, and it's kind of like Pantheism of the Monarchs. You just reveal 3 of the same, and it lets you grab one of those cards, which is really, really nice to be able to grab that card from the deck. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck, and then once we do, we can actually use the effect of the Blue Eyes Alternative to reveal itself and special summon to our side of the field the copy of the Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. And then at this point, we can go ahead and drop Polymerization to use the copy of King of the Swamp, the copy of our Blue Eyes White Dragon, and the alternative on our side of the field to be able to just get rid of those cards and put them in the graveyard to actually summon out Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. Now at this point, we can pay 2,000 life points for the copy of Verte Anaconda to be able to send from our deck to the graveyard a copy of Ultimate Fusion, and we're not going to summon the card that you think. We're actually going to summon out a different boss monster that is even more nostalgic than Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, which is hard to say because this card is like one of the most nostalgic cards. We're actually going to use 2 really awesome cards to be able to fusion summon, and that's actually going to be Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and a copy of King of the Swamp. What could we possibly be summoning with this? And if you guys didn't know, this card actually is very, very unique, and I absolutely love this card. So let's take a quick peek at actually what it does. During the main phase, you can fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions a Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon as a material by shuffling the fusion materials listed on it from your hand, field, or graveyard into the deck, and then you get to destroy face-up cards on the opponent's side of the field up to the number of Blue Eyes White Dragon and Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon used on the field as material. So we can actually use the King of the Swamp that's in the graveyard and the Blue Eyes Ultimate because this counts as a substitute for any card, which is really cool, to summon out the Dragon Master Knight. We can actually summon out Dragon Master Knight with this field with a copy of Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate, and we actually put in a Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon into the copy of our Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate, so we can pop 3 cards on the field off of its own effect, which is just really, really cool. And it also puts back a Polymerization Searcher and puts back our copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon back into the extra deck, which is just really, really awesome. I really love that we actually got that card out because that's actually like one of the most ideal fields that you can actually pull off in this deck because you just have so many different plays that you can actually go for like this. Now the really cool thing is this card actually has the ability that it gets 500 attack points for each face-up dragon besides itself, so it's going up to 6,000 attack points. And you have the effect of your Blue Eyes Shining Dragon that's going up by 300. So you have the copy of 1, 2, 3, and then we have 4 in the graveyard. And do we also count the ones on the field? This card cannot be normal summoned or set. You increase the attack of this card by 300 points for each dragon monster in the graveyard. So it goes up by 4 times 3, which is 1200. So this is at 42, this is at 45, and this is at 6000. So you have all 3 of these really awesome boss monsters all in the field. I really love this. This is awesome. So I think that shows the first test hand. Let's go into the second test hand for you guys. That's really, really awesome. And our top deck would be a copy of the White Stone of Ancient, which wouldn't help us out that much, but we probably had game anyways. You could have normal summoned it and then tributed the copy of the White Stone of Ancient to be able to summon out Linkuriboh from the graveyard, which would be a play for you guys if you wanted to go that route. But let's go ahead and shuffle the deck and see what we can do for the next test hand, because that was actually crazy. Being able to summon out Dragon Master Knight onto our side of the field. That actually comes up very, very frequently in the deck, that you can actually pull off summoning the copy of Dragon Master Knight onto your side of the field. It's just really an awesome card to be able to summon out that card to your side of the field. And using King of the Swamp as a material to not only search your copy of Polymerization, but also to use it as a substitute for Blackluster Soldier is just awesome. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can do for our next test hand. So we're going to go ahead and draw, and we're going to draw into a copy of King of the Swamp. We're going to draw into a copy of the White Stone of Legend, Sage with Eyes of Blue, Upstart Goblin, and a copy of King of the Swamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the copy of King of the Swamp to discard to the graveyard to search out a copy of Polymerization, because we want to go ahead and get that card to our hand and just go ahead and start our plays rolling, which is going to help us out a lot. So what we're going to do at this point is I'm going to go ahead and normal summon out the copy of the White Stone of Legend, and then use its effect to be able to then send the Sage and the copy of the White Stone to the graveyard to special summon out to my side of the field a copy of a Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is really awesome. And then we also get a search of a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck, which helps us out to be able to get 2 of the 3. But since we have King of the Swamp, we actually have 3 for 3, which is just really, really awesome. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and activate, say, Upstart Goblin, and let's just see what we can actually hit with the copy of Upstart Goblin, which we're actually going to draw into a copy of Ultimate Fusion. That makes this so much better. We can actually summon out 2 Blue Eyes Ultimates, which is really cool. So what we're going to do is activate the copy of our Polymerization using all 3 of these cards in our hand and our field to be able to summon out our copy of Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And then once we summon out Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, we can just set to our side of the field the copy of our Ultimate Fusion, because we can just make another Blue Eyes Ultimate on the following turn. And this card also has the ability that at the end of the battle phase, if this card is the only face of card that you control, where you can basically attack again by sending the Blue Eyes Fusions from the extra deck to the graveyard. So you can summon out this card if you want to, or you can summon out a copy of Alternative Ultimate, or just the original Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Totally up to you which one of the 3 you actually summon to the field, but you can actually use the effect that if this does get destroyed, you can then just flip the copy of Ultimate Fusion and summon out Dragon Master Knight to the field, which is really cool, as a 5,000 attack point monster, which is just really cool, because if your opponent goes and this card does go to the graveyard, then you can just flip this on your side of the field, the copy of Ultimate Fusion, because it's a quick play fusion spell to be able to use these cards in the graveyard and shuffle them back into the deck, and then summon out the Dragon Master Knight, which is just really cool that you can actually just summon that card so easily in this deck, and it's just a really awesome thing. So now we're going to go ahead and draw for our turn, and we're going to draw into a copy of King of the Swamp. Doesn't really help us out all that much at this point, but we do have the copy of Dragon Master Knight that we can swing with. We draw into the next turn, and we just draw into the copy of the White Stone of Ancient, which again doesn't help us out all that much, but we did summon out a copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate, and you could summon out an additional copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate, because if this was on the field, you could just use Ultimate Fusion plus the 2 Blue Eyes that we already had in the graveyard and one of the King of the Swamps. Fusion summon these away that we had in the graveyard from summoning the first one, and you could have just summoned out a copy of Alternative Ultimate instead, which would be another really good boss monster that you can summon if you don't have the copy of your Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, which is an option for you guys. You can basically summon 2 Blue Eyes Ultimates with that hand, or a copy of Dragon Master Knight, and just summoning out the Blue Eyes Ultimate to use as a material. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can do for at least one more test hand and see what we can pull off, because as you guys can see, this deck is super consistent consistent and super fun to be able to play with. And even if you don't summon out Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, you can summon out cards like Dragon Master Knight, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, Alternative Ultimate, Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate. You have just so many different cool boss monsters that you can actually go for in this deck. So let's go ahead and draw and see what we can do. We're going to draw into a copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, Sage with Eyes of Blue, and finally a Polymerization, which is kind of a good hand. We don't have a lot of plays that we can actually pull off with this hand, but we have a lot of really interesting follow-up plays that we can go for next turn. We're going to go ahead and normal summon out the copy of Sage to our field to be able to search the deck for a copy of our White Stone of Legend, which is going to help us out to be able to go in for that card later on in our plays. But now that we have that card on our side of the field, we can actually use a copy of Alternative White to summon it to our side of the field. And you can actually synchro summon here if you want to for a copy of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, which is an option for you guys to be able to get even more plays and to shut down the opponent, which is just really, really nice. So you can actually just end with this, pass over to the opponent. If they can't do anything against this, you can actually use this card, tribute it on your side of the field to summon out your copy of Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, which is a really cool play because this card is just going to protect all of your monsters on the field. And also once per turn during the standby phase, you can target a normal monster in the graveyard and special summon it, which is kind of neat. But we're going to go ahead and draw for turn into another copy of our Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. At this point, we can just normal summon out the copy of the White Stone of Legend, link it away, and summon out a copy of Link Karibo to our side of the field, which is going to get us a search of another Blue Eyes because of the effect of the White Stone of Legend and linking it away. We're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck, special summon out the copy of the Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon to our field by revealing a Blue Eyes in the hand, and then we're going to just use Polymerization to be able to summon out a copy of our Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon to the field, which you can get fields like this when you can synchro summon, which is kind of neat because now you have this really awesome field that this can pop 3 cards. This is going to protect your monsters from being destroyed by battle, and this card is going to be summoning back those Blue Eyes to your side of the field, which is just really helpful. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and pass over to the opponent after we pop some cards or attack, and then we're going to go ahead and draw for turn, which is going to draw us into a Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, which is just really, really awesome because at this point, we have the copy of the Azure Eyes that's going to summon out the copy of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. And if they did not get rid of this copy of Link Karibo, we can link this card away to summon out a copy of Mduk, which is going to then use its effect with the copy, or actually not effect, we're just going to link these two away to summon out a copy of our Verte Anaconda, which then we can pay 2k to be able to send from our deck to the graveyard a copy of Ultimate Fusion, which we won't be able to summon our copy of our Shining Dragon this turn, but we can summon it the following turn, which is okay because you're still getting it out on your side of the field. So we're going to mix these cards back into the deck and go ahead and shuffle back our 3 copies of Blue Eyes back into the deck to summon out an original copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is pretty good to just get that card on our side of the field so we can go in for our copy of Blue Eyes Shining Dragon on the following turn. So at this point, we're going to pass back over to the opponent. If they can't do anything again, we're going to go ahead and draw, which is a copy of our Tyrant of D. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and use the effect of our Silver Dragon to be able to special summon back Blue Eyes White Dragon. And then we're just going to tribute off this card from our side of the field to summon out the copy of Shining. Then we can use the effect of our Tyrant to be able to send from our deck to the graveyard a copy of our Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is going to special summon out the copy of Tyrant to our side of the field, which is going to help us out a lot to be able to just get this card on the field, because now at this point, if you had any room, you could use the copy of Tyrant to discard this card to the graveyard and summon back the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which would be really, really awesome to have all of them on the field. But you already have Alternative, you already have the copy of Dictator of D, you have the copy of Blue Eyes, and you have all the other cards on the field. So this is a really awesome field for this deck. This is really, really cool. This deck is a lot of fun to be able to play, and it can just go in for so many different plays. We don't even play that many Link monsters in the deck, just the 3 in this particular build, which if you guys would like to check out the deck profile, as always, it is down in the description down below. But I think that pretty much shows the deck for you guys, because we just get some really awesome plays. We're going to draw into the copy of the White Stone of Ancients. It seems like every time I end, I draw this card, which is kind of weird. I only play, I think, 2 copies of it in this deck. So I think that's pretty much going to show for you guys what we can actually pull pull off in this deck. It's really awesome how quick you can actually summon out the copy of Blue Eyes Shining in this deck. And it's just super, super fun to be able to summon out that card to the field, especially with all of the other nostalgic Blue Eyes ultimates that you can actually pull off in this deck. It's just really, really cool being able to summon out Blue Eyes Shining. And it's just such an old school card. I'm actually using the original movie print ones that when you got it's a promo for going and seeing the movie. I think I saw the movie like 3 times in the theater when it first came out, which is just really, really cool. So I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much, Izzy, for suggesting this one. This one was a lot of fun to do. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.